Welcome. It's a pleasure meeting everyone here. I'd like to tell some of my story, which may be some of your story as well. And instead of starting from the past, I'll start from the present, because that's the only place I know where I can live. When people think about the past, worry about the past, their energy leaves the body and is drawn away from them to the past. When people worry about the future, they think about the future, their energy leaves their body to the future. If you want to connect, you have to be totally in the present, which is the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Hove, present. When you're totally in the present, then you have the power of creation in a proper and balanced way. So let me start from something that just happened to me. It happened in the past and happened again now, so I'll share it. The other day I met a woman who had certain issues, and she shared with me that these issues began when she was doing something for the world, when she left her own private life and started doing something for society. And I remembered myself as well. There was a time I decided to step out of being a rabbi and start doing something for the world. And there was also a shift in my body. The physiology and the composition of the genetics in my body, something shifted and changed. And so when this person told me the other day what was going on with her, I understood it straight away. Because the world is in such a shape and so out of balance that many people want to help the world. They want to help people, they want to do things. But in doing so, they take on responsibility on themselves, which is not their own. Essentially, each person is responsible for their own connection with the Creator and creation. And when you take on someone else's responsibility, you imbalance your own self. It's not yours. We're not here to tell other people what to do. We're responsible for our own connection. When I was 11, I was turned off certain things in religion, and I wanted to run away. But I looked around and saw there's nowhere to run. Wherever you go, there are problems or issues. Whether it's religion, whether it's anything else, even the spiritual groups around the world all have their limitations and issues. There was nowhere to go. So I said, what do I do? So I decided that since God put me into this body, into this family in Australia, I was born in Melbourne, Australia, in a Hasidic family, a Jewish family, I decided that that's the way the Creator wants me to be in this world, have that as my base. And I would study Torah, learn what Hashem gave, and in a way that I feel the connection, and it connects me. And if everyone else explains it one way and I explain it different, I'm right and they're wrong. Because this is my connection, not theirs. Everyone is responsible for theirs. And so very often, there are people who take on responsibilities for other people, in whatever way they have to do it. And they imbalance their own self. So the first thing one has to know is that in order to be responsible for the world, you can't do it on your own. As a responsibility, the only way we can do it is by sharing. Each one of us has to be responsible for their own connection, their own opening, and their own feeling from the heart, the mind, and connection with Creator and creation. When every person does it individually, together as a group, we can share the responsibility, because it's supposed to be a group responsibility, not an individual. And once all together as a group, we share it together, we become one again as an individual, because we are essentially one. We come from one Creator, we disperse into different bodies, and we come back to that oneness. But instead of waiting to die to come back to the oneness, we can create it here while we're alive. Why wait? So this is something that just happened to me. It came to mind, so I am sharing it. Another thing I'd like to share is that I was born in Melbourne, Australia, and in a family very religious. and very nice people. The first thing they had was they were decent human beings. It's a family. They went back into Europe on both sides. They were educators, extremely sensitive people, and they treated everyone equally. They themselves were extremely religious and very careful on every detail that they did. But when it came to other people, they didn't differentiate between what religion a person was, what background. If a person was a decent person, that was great. That was the first thing, to be a human being. And that's what I saw growing up. In the home, we didn't have differences so much between men and women. Whatever, if a job had to be done, whoever was available did it. My father cooks, my mother cooks. I do cleaning, I do sewing. As a boy as well, it didn't matter. So when I went out into the world, there are a lot of things I never understood about people. It didn't make sense. Everyone can do it. Why is it one person's job or another person's? And studying, everyone studied. And as a rabbi, people say, what should I read? I say, I don't know. You read. You have a mind. Read whatever you want. If you have questions, you can ask me the questions and I'll see if I can help you. I have no interest in telling people what to do. Sometimes people want you to tell them what to do, but then they create a dependency. And I see that also in the way people ask questions of a rabbi or a leader of things. They take their own power, which was given to them by Hashem, by God, and they give it to someone else. And then they expect to have a connection to be balanced. It's not a balance. And actually, if you go back to Adam and Eve, everyone talks about the sin of Adam and Eve. I don't even know what they're talking about. Because the Hebrew word for chet doesn't mean sin. It could be avein, it could be pesha, it could be something else. But chet means off target, off center. When you shoot an arrow or you shoot a gun and you don't hit the target and center, it's off center, that's what the word chet means. So basically what Adam and Eve did is they created an imbalance. What they did is they made something in creation be off center. And because everything was one, everything existed with an open oneness, when one person did something that was off center, at that instant all creation went off center. And since that time, there hasn't been one person who's been able to correct that and bring it back to balance. Because the moment one human being can reconnect with the Creator and bring balance back, everything becomes balanced. In one instant, all the negativity, all the issues disappear. It's very simple.